Hello, everybody. My name is Lilith Saga. I am a writer, Succubus, and PNGtuber. And today, we are doing a little one-shot visual novel. I know it's been a while since we've done one of these, but I feel like now is as good a time as any. We are playing a game called Locke by kigyodev, I believe. So, let's see. What is this game about? The art and writing are by kigyodev. Music by Darius B. Gordon. Oscillating Tortoise. There's a bunch of translators because there's many different languages you can play it in. Locke was made within 2 weeks in 2021 for some kind of game jam. It was heavily inspired by the following passage in John Locke's an essay concerning human understanding. Now, what did all of that mean? Well, from my understanding, or I guess more my interpretation, we were going to be meeting a person today. Someone that we long to see and speak with, maybe an old acquaintance of some sort. And we're going to be locked in that room with them. Will we want to be locked in that room with them to better understand that other human that we have longed to see? Or will we not want to be locked there forever because we love the freedom of being able to choose where we want to be and what we can do outside of that room that becomes our world? Again, this is all speculation at this point, but that is what the game is about. But let's see what we end up uncovering in this game. I hope you're just excited as I am, so let's go ahead and jump right in. For a man may prefer what he can do to what he cannot do. The state he is in to its absence or change, though necessity has made it in itself unalterable. John Locke. I wake up. Oh, hello. Those are some nice, heels, shoes. Definitely not stabbing weapons. I had a good night's rest. In terms of my quality of sleep, I have nothing to complain about. Huh, that's rare. I didn't have a nightmare, nor any other kind of dream for that matter. I haven't been this comfortable in a long time. And yet, the sight before me is something quite unusual to wake up to. Okay, so good to know we're not a feet fetish person. Alright. Shoes. How often are feet the first thing you see upon waking up? Well, if we're waking up and our first thing is shoes, I imagine maybe we're lying on the ground somewhere? I would wager it is quite a rare event. I mean, unless you're a hostage or kidnapped, I guess. I cannot even come up with a scenario where this is likely to occur. I mean, I just did. Although, even so, I mean, you could just be sleeping against a wall or something. It's not necessarily a requirement of being held hostage to be able to wake up to see feet. I mean, I imagine it's actually quite isolating. But anyways. Except, of course, my own. Clearly, I am looking at a pair of shoes right now, so the probability must be non-zero. It suddenly occurs to me that feet are connected to people. Wow, gee willikers. I wouldn't have thought. Ooh. Oh, thank goodness. You have come too. Look at her, she's so pretty! Okay, I'll be honest. The other reason I wanted to play this game, she kind of has a bit of Kyoko Kirigiri vibe, doesn't she? With pale purple hair, inquisitive eyes, well-dressed. I don't know. Maybe she's about to try and decipher us. Although I'm just now noticing there's a chain around her neck. Is she a prisoner too? I have to admit, I was beginning to miss you. The person I've talked to previously was much less pleasant. My cheeks flush upon hearing an open declaration of affection from such a beautiful stranger. Oh ho ho. So, are we locked together, huh? Wait, stranger? She isn't a stranger at all. She isn't? That's right. I've been longing to speak to her. How do you feel? Very good. I'm glad to find myself in so desirable company. The feeling is mutual. There is nothing I want more than to talk to you right now. Feel free to discuss anything in this room that catches your interest. Okay. I will gladly do so. So, are we in space? Like, what's with the this black hole over here? Or is it a solar eclipse? Ah, it's the moon. It's a new moon. The moon is quite beautiful today. Shoot, how do you say that in Japanese? I forget. I've been so out of my Japanese practice. Tsuki ga kirei desu ne? I believe that's close enough. Yeah. Tsuki ga kirei desu ne? How fascinating. Not many people would say that about a new moon. I mean, just because it isn't like... just because it's covered in shadows doesn't mean that there's beauty lurking beneath it. The full moon seems to be preferred by almost everyone. Oh, that may be so, but I believe the new moon has its own appeal. Yeah, exactly. I was not disagreeing with you. To me, a new moon is the moon's most beautiful form. It is her most beautiful form because it is her true form. She appears silver to us when illuminated by the sun. But, in complete darkness, she is freed from the sun's pesky influence. She can finally stand on her own. Interesting. So the sun gives her influence, but without the sun shining upon her, she's able to be her own celestial object? Interesting. Do you believe the moon feels trapped? My question causes her to laugh. It is a beautiful, melodious laugh. The moon is but a celestial object. She cannot feel anything. But if I were to trade places with her, I would hate the sun with every fiber of my being. That I am certain of. Although your eyes kind of look like the sun, because they're just so bright and warm. I'm not flirting, you're flirting. Oh, got an achievement for that. Okay, let's see. That looks like a door. I don't want a door yet. What's this? Oh, that's a computer? Interesting. What is such an old computer doing here? Old? Do you characterize it as such due to its size? I was gonna say, I mean, it may be like a little bit old-ish just from the cause it's a big processor, a giant box, if you will. But I mean, I don't know, that still looks kind of high-tech. So maybe some kind of space computer. I don't know. Again, I don't think, maybe we're not in space, because obviously we see the moon, and it's a new moon, so we have to be on some kind of planet. But I don't know, it just looks like we're in some kind of spaceship, because there's not much in this room other than the space outside, a chair, and a computer. So it's interesting. But yeah, old, do you characterize it as such to its size? It is true that as technology advances, it becomes better at creating more efficient, smaller parts. On the other hand, if a modern computer is very large, we assume it to be proportionally powerful. But this computer size has no correlation to its age, nor to its computational power. It is built that way for a much more simple, if not primitive, reason. It is supposed to fit a human inside. Oh? Like an actual human? Is it run? Oh no, are we in the Matrix? Is this run off of the machines are feeding off of us, so we're in little pods to help them run their stuff? Is that what's going on? You're not gonna use me for that, are you? Or are you being used for it? I don't know, that doesn't sound very comforting regardless. What? Is someone being kept there against their will? Of course not. There is no need to worry. It is merely an exhibition object. Okay, what are we in a museum now? In fact, everything around us is but a buffet to provide us with topics to discuss. Okay. I think they could have probably decorated it with a little bit more, but I mean, to each their own. This computer in particular might be the most interesting. Are you familiar with the Chinese room argument? I don't think that I am. Is it anything like the locked room argument that they use for, like, prisoner dilemmas? I don't think so. Would you care to explain it? Gladly. It is a thought experiment, so please open your mind to a hypothetical scenario. Okay, mind is being opened. And go. Suppose you do not know any Chinese and are put into a room. Well, yeah, that sounds about right so far. I don't know any Chinese. Sorry to my good buddy Tor. And I am put in a room right now. So, yep, those are two true statements right now. In that room, you find rulebooks that tell you precisely how to convert a given combination of Hanzi to a new string of characters. Wait, is Hanzi, like... Is it kind of like the Chinese equivalent to kanji, or is it something else? Chinese speakers, in the comments, let me know if you know what Hanzi is, because I'm really curious. Occasionally, you will receive letters through a mail slot from outside the room. You write down answers according to the rule books and send them back out. Since you follow the rules diligently, your answers are perfectly intelligible, and the people outside assume you are a fluent Chinese speaker. Oh, but we're just using a guide, so we're not actually fluent at all. We're just, we're kind of cheating. Well, not cheating. We have guidance at our disposal, but we're not fluent, so we're gonna disappoint a lot of people when we go outside. But are you? Evidently not. From looking at the characters alone, I have no means of learning to understand them. No matter how long I pursued this task, I would never become capable of speaking Chinese. Indeed, the human inside the room cannot speak Chinese. There is no question about it. Okay? And since the programming of computers is analogous to the rulebooks you use, it is supposed to show the same thing about them. That computers, no matter how well they can simulate understanding, do not have any. Ooh. That brings an interesting point, especially since currently there's been a lot of talks of AI technology, with computers being able to even design different things. So even though AI can emulate what we can do, we'll simulate it, emulate it, try and understand it. It makes it seem like they have understanding, but they don't actually have understanding because they're not human like us. It's an interesting way to think about it, honestly. But there is one aspect about this thought experiment that has seemingly been overlooked. Oh? Namely, the person inside might still be capable of speaking some language. Oh. So, like, a person who's just understanding Chinese, they might know, like, a few words. They just aren't able to speak it fluently. So maybe AI, they can understand a few concepts, but not enough to really grasp the whole picture of what our world is like. Does that mean that if they are capable of some of the language, they're able to learn more of it later on? Or is it kind of like stunted growth where you can't learn any more past a certain point until you become more human, I guess, or more Chinese speaking? Clearly, you are brought into the room with an understanding of English, but you are never prompted or given the opportunity to use it. Okay. Judging you based on your Chinese abilities is quite unfair. Being stuck inside the Chinese room would be pitiful and terrifying. So, what if a computer also has its own native language? Oh, like binary code or no, I guess like coding languages like HTML, CSS, that's more of like a way for us to speak to the computers, but they don't necessarily speak it themselves, I think. I don't know. I'm not a computer science major. What if it even had feelings and needs, with no means of communicating them to the outside world? Even though the Chinese room argument is a mere thought experiment, it exposes a very worrisome fact about artificial intelligence. Aha! So we are talking about artificial intelligence, I see. But yeah, I'm gonna say the connection between those two things is pretty clear, honestly. At least to me. I think it makes sense. That is, if a computer somehow comes to obtain emotion, it would be an existence of utter despair. Zetsupo. While interesting, I do not think this is a real concern. Okay, why so? It is highly unlikely that we somehow already discovered how to artificially create emotion. Yeah, AI can't really create emotion like how you and I can. Well, I mean, I'm not a human, I'm a demon, I'm a succubus. It's a little different, but I still have human emotions, technically. Or at least what you humans consider emotions. But even if I'm able to do it, and you, if you're a human, are able to do it, or some other kind of creature, we all are all living things that can create emotion, while artificial intelligence isn't quite there yet. It's able to emulate it, but not quite feel it the same way that we do. I admit that it is unlikely. It would be no exaggeration to call it a miracle even. Yet, we would have no way of knowing whether that miracle has already occurred. Said unlucky computer would suffer in silence, with no one ever considering that it might be in pain. Oh, that's true. I'm definitely not tech savvy enough to understand my computer, so even if the computer is suffering, I sadly wouldn't really be able to know. Sorry, desktop. We just don't see eye to eye on things, man. Our language barrier is too strong. Tell me, would you put such a computer out of its misery? Good question. The humane thing to do, if something is suffering, is to put it out of its misery. It's kind of getting a little bit political at this point, but yeah, I mean, if someone just wants to be put out of their misery, then yeah, I think they should be able to. However, I wouldn't be able to understand a computer's misery. And also, I enjoy using computers. That sounds so wrong now. But this hypothetical situation, oh god. But no, I don't think I could. I mean, unless it was like completely damaged beyond repair, if I can find some use out of it, despite what the computer may feel or might not feel, I'd have no way of knowing, so I couldn't really put it out of its misery. Man, this is getting so deep, man. Initially, I'm inclined to say yes, but I can only notice its pain once it is communicated. Yeah, exactly, that's exactly what I'm saying. By the time I realized that it is suffering, the language barrier would no longer exist. So at that point, the computer would no longer have to be alone. Then you would instead spend the rest of your life in his company. I mean, I don't know, if the computer passes the vibe check, I think so. I mean, just because the computer and I are able to communicate doesn't mean we would necessarily get along. So, I mean, unless, like, you know, we actually do get along. I mean, if we get along, we can spend our lives together, but I don't know. Might have to try to give it another human it can try to communicate with, if possible. I don't know. Perhaps that would be my moral obligation, yes. I see. Okay. Okay, what else is in this room that we can... Oh, can we observe the chair? Oh, you wish to talk about me? I would love that. I am flattered. What in particular would you like to know? I would be content with any bit of information you share with me. Yeah, who are you? What do you like? What's the story behind the chain and the lock? But one thing I am particularly curious about is her lack of booba, her flat chest. I gulp before I dare to utter my next words. Your necklace. Where? I still like that zoom in though. I cannot bring myself to complete the sentence out of fear of offending her. I'm sure she's not offended. If she's been stuck in this room for a long amount of time, she's probably used to it. As a response, her slender fingers wander up to trace the metal ring around her neck. My necklace? Are you referring to this? I nod. Content with my confirmation, her hands slide down to the chain attached to the ring. She gently tugs at it, causing it to clink. And you wish to know where this leads? Her hands move on to the first button of her coat, foreshadowing what would happen if I were to say yes. Oh, I think this is starting to get into a little bit of foreplay. But I am too mesmerized to utter a single word. Once again, all I can do is nod. She chuckles. Very well. I always value honesty. And, just like that, she puts the uppermost button between her fingers and pushes it through the opening. Once slipped through, slightly more of her upper body is revealed. Of course, she's still fully clothed underneath. Nothing about this is inappropriate. Get your head out of the gutter, people. By people, I mean me. But also, if you're watching and you're thinking things, I see you. And yet, I feel like I am witnessing something I shouldn't. Something not meant for my eyes. Something I can never turn back from. Bearing a knowing smile, she repeats the same motion with the remaining buttons of her coat. She satisfied my request. I should have been contented, but the question of where her chain leads has grown even more puzzling. I suppose it is time we arrive at the heart of the matter. What, already? Oh, well, I guess this is probably the reason why we're here. Would you call yourself free? Please take a moment to consider this and justify your answer. Okay, well, that's kind of a really hard thing to answer, especially given when it's asked so vaguely. Are we free in terms of what we are able to do? Are we free with, do we think we have our own locus of control? Are we free for a date? Ayo? Hey, you want to go? But I guess in the most general terms, whether or not do we consider ourselves free? For me, I don't think I am. I feel like there are certain things that I have to do, regardless of how I actually feel about them. So, I guess, in a way, yeah, I guess I'm not free. I did not expect her to answer my confusion with a question of her own, let alone a question as peculiar as that. Nonetheless, I do as she says and choose my next words carefully. Of course I am free. You idiot, you are not. You're in a room trapped with a beautiful girl. How are you free? I can lift my arm and clutch my hand into a fist. I can control my thoughts and imagine any scene I want in my head. And most of all, there is nothing I desire more than talking to you, which is what I am currently doing. Nothing is preventing me from doing what I want to do. Therefore, both physically and mentally, I am free. I mean, maybe the character is. I don't feel so free. But, okay, I guess we can roll with it. Interesting. So to you, freedom belongs to volition. Being free is equivalent to being free to do as you please. I mean, but I feel like there's still like societal barriers of what you can and can't do. Unfortunately, I do not agree with that conception. See? Okay, maybe her thought process is the same along as me. Even a prisoner, unless restrained from head to toe, can clench his fist if he wills it. Okay. And so long as he is not under the influence of drugs or illness, he can most certainly control his imagination. Well, even with drugs or illness, I mean... Well, yeah, for the most part, you can control your imagination. Yet, by definition, prisoners are not free. Lastly, when it comes to wish fulfillment, what if what you want to do simply aligns with what you are able to do? A bird that cannot fly might not wish to leave its cage. It is fully content sitting on a decorative branch and pecking at delicious seeds every day. Oh yeah. I mean, there's some things that I do want to do and some things I don't. Jumping out of a plane, I don't know if I have the strength, have the courage, have the chutzpah, whatever. I don't think I have what it takes to jump out of a plane, parachute or not. Because I'm totally content with having my feet planted firmly on the ground. It longs for nothing, but is never given the opportunity to long for more. Would you say such a bird is free? That would be up to the bird. If the bird is free, if the bird thinks that, like, well, my life's pretty great, I don't really want anything else about it, then maybe they do feel free. But maybe to an outside perspective, it's not so freeing because they could think of all sorts of different opportunities that the bird could have. To fly, to go to other parts of the world, to be made into a movie, or several movies, I don't know. So I don't know. I think it's maybe the eye of the beholder. I suppose not. The bird's circumstances seem to me quite sad, actually. I think so too. The fact that it doesn't long for the outside might just be a shackle of its own. The bird is confined both in body and mind. Despite the fact that it can do as it pleases, freedom will never be in its grasp. Take a moment to ponder her analogy. Even though it has no desire for anything around it, I mean, there's still so much freedom that they could attain. Maybe it's about potential? But even, like, at the highest potential, if you're able to do everything and anything, you'd be a god. So maybe no one is free because there's always something that we could do. In that case, I have to agree that my explanation for freedom was faulty. I apologize. Let me offer a new one. Oh, okay. There is no need. She lets out a laugh, but this one lacks the charm of its predecessor. After all, I pity you almost as much as myself. She once again moves her fingers to her chain and grips it with both of her hands. You were curious about this, yes? Then she yanks her chain with brutish strength, completely unlike the first time. Oh. So hard, even, that my own neck is pulled forward. We're connected to each other, that's where the chain goes. My own neck? Man, I knew it. Suddenly, a realization dawns upon me. Our chains are connected. That is correct. I'm surprised the pressure hasn't bothered you until now. To be honest, I still cannot feel it. It's almost as if it's like completely through a computer screen or something. I only know that it is there. That sounds much more comfortable than my own. I am painfully aware of it at all times. I would not describe my own circumstances as comfortable. Why am I connected to you? Was this your doing? No. I wish I had any amount of control over this place, but unfortunately I do not. If you discover a way to break free, I would love to know about it. I'll get you out of here somehow, some way. But what else is there to explore? Oh, we're gonna examine the lock on your hairpin. Oh, did we just take it? Whoops. Hope you didn't notice. Okay. Is there anything else before the door? I'm not ready to leave. I think that's really all. There's not really a whole lot in this room to begin with. She's so cute though. Kinda don't want to leave. But all things must come to an end. Okay, what's this all about? For the first time since waking up, I no longer feel at ease sitting in this chair. Her presence is no longer enough to keep me calm. No! In fact, her smile, which appeared to me so charming before, now seems unsettling. I mean, I think it was always a little unsettling at first, but like, I mean, because she just has this kind of cool aura about her and everything, but... I stand up, the only sound in the room being the rustling of our chain. It was a pleasure talking to you, but I will be taking my leave. Fortunately, the chain is quite long. If necessary, the two of us could stand at opposite ends of the room. I make it to the door without requiring her to move in any way. As my hand hovers above the door handle, I can faintly hear her laugh again. But now isn't the time to doubt myself. You're not going to get out of this. What do you mean? I enjoyed this day while it lasted, and it is time to return home. However, opening the door only reveals a solid wall behind it. There was never an exit to begin with. Oh no. It's beyond your power to escape this place. Aww. Evidently, she is telling the truth. Then I assume the window? A fabrication, just like the door. I thought so. Finally aware of my own powerlessness, I sit back down on my armchair. I do wonder if you can be likened to a bird in a cage. Are you a parakeet or an eagle? And am I your companion or Prometheus? Are we a pair of parakeets content to be in each other's company for the rest of our lives? Or will you tear out my liver every day, torturing me for eternity? That sounds like something that we have here in hell. But is that an accusation? Have I done anything to hurt you? Do you despise me? I do not. The eagle, just like Prometheus, was stuck in an endless cycle. Of course, it was provided a delicious liver every morning, but it was never allowed to do anything else. It was a prisoner, just the same. Therefore, Prometheus had no right to hate the eagle. I'll have to remember what the eagle is supposed to mean in mythology. The real villain, who doomed both of them to that fate, was Zeus. For that reason, I harbor no ill will against you either. Quite the opposite, I find pleasure in our joint suffering. The only person I hate is our Zeus. The game developers! Our Zeus, some kind of god? That person is the reason we are here. They are watching us from a space we cannot perceive, far beyond our grasp. For what purpose? Enjoyment, I assume. What kind of person would watch something like this for fun? Yeah, why would somebody watch my videos for fun? No idea. By the way, guys, I love you. I can only imagine they are a twisted individual, for as long as we are observed, we continue to exist. Does that mean we stop existing if they stop observing us? Most certainly. Oh no. But a lot of, people long after they're dead, their work is observed. So technically, does that mean they're still alive because they're in our memories? I don't know if that's necessarily true. Can you recall anything about your life before coming here? Well, I mean, obviously you're talking about the character here. I know my life pretty well, I think. No. In a way, I feel as though I am a newborn. Not in terms of my body or intellect, but rather when speaking about my memories. I have none. Interesting. It is hard for me to decide which of our fates is worse. How so? Are you different? She's AI! or kind of just a character with sentience. I possess memories of meeting you over 1,000 times. Every single one of our conversations progressed more or less the same way. Perhaps it is because different gods were watching us. They might have different preferences, but the outcome is always the same. Maybe it's preferences of like beta testing the game from game developers? Who knows? Now that I think about it, it is possible that you aren't always you. It could be that I am meeting people that are identical in every way, and yet not the same. But of course, I've already had this realization many times out before, and I am destined to continue having it. I guess. There is nothing I can do but play along with this video game. Are you sure? Is there no way for us to break free? Want to break free? I want to break free. I don't know how the Queen song goes. Oh shit. There is none. We exist for this very purpose. Our only options are to continue being observed or to stop existing, and neither of those are under our control. However, lacking control is not the same as lacking power. Huh? How can an object be made powerful if it doesn't have any semblance of control? Even if I can never break free, I wish to cause our god even a fraction of our pain. Ooh. Hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn. You guys better watch out, whatever god that put us here, because you don't want to mess with us. How can you hope to hurt a god, an all-powerful being? It's not unheard of. Plenty of stories are about killing a god. By showing them an even greater power, whose mere existence will make them feel as powerless as us. Just like you are slightly different every time, so is the god watching us. This trick might not work on all of them, but it might work on some. She takes a deep breath, looks at me, full of conviction. Hey, what's up? No, not at me. She's looking in my direction, but something much farther away. She's looking at me! Hey. Miss Hostess? Host person? Human? Maybe not human? Artificial intelligence? Cute girl? Flat-chested, but very, very adorable? Hey. Zeus. The fact that I am still talking means you are still watching. I hope you will pay attention to my words and consider them carefully. I do not possess any privacy, so you already know what I plan to achieve. But surely your pride will allow me to proceed. If my partner and I are birds in a cage, then you are a cat. Meow. It is time for your curiosity to kill you. You most likely assume that you are here, that you are observing us, out of your own free will. But your free will may very well be an illusion. Let me ask you, how did you find this room? You, of course, cannot answer me. It is enough for me to guide your thoughts. Did you stumble upon this room by chance? Or was it recommended to you by a friend? How did I find this game? I think I was just searching for visual novels on Steam and I came across it one day. I don't know. I've had this in my library for quite a while. So, I think that's probably the most likely scenario. Said friend being a god that previously observed us. Nah, I don't have friends. I mean, that's not really true, but nah, I the only person who recommended me this game was myself. Now, consider. At what point did you have any chance to object? None. There were no dialogue options for me to make a choice. The room's appearance or description was interesting enough for you. or your friend is convincing and knows your tastes. It's a visual novel talking to a cute girl for a couple of minutes. What more could you want in life, honestly? Something outside of your control drew you to this place. But that means you didn't really have any choice but to come here. Either an algorithm or your friend decided our meeting. I guess an algorithm then. Okay. That doesn't make it wrong though, right? Your consent was already set in stone the moment your curiosity was piqued. And apparently, you are still curious even now. The fact that you are listening to me now shows you are powerless against fate. I guess. I mean, I'm listening to you because I want to listen to you and progress the story, but I guess that's not entirely up to me. I guess it was already predestined. You cannot control your own curiosity. It controls you. Oh, I never thought of it like that. That's good. That's good. Of course, you might already be familiar with determinism, and this could be no revelation to you. So, just in case, let me try hurting you in a different way. I hate you from the bottom of my heart. Aww. Well, we've only talked for a little bit, so I mean, if you really don't want to talk to me anymore, okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did, but I just wanted to play a game. Oh? Did we beat the game? Yeah, I guess we have. Yeah, we got all the achievements, so... Dang. She didn't let us off with any warning at all. She was just like, nah, I hate you, bitch. Bye. Bye, Felicia. Okay, then. All right. So if our own curiosity is predetermined by fate, is it our own free will to take interest in things? Or is it already predetermined by fate? Oh man. It's such a hard concept to really be able to navigate thoroughly. It's why I couldn't really do well in my philosophy class in university. Because when it gets so big-brained like this, where I don't know whether or not, do I have control of my own actions or do I not? Is everything predetermined? Is that why we can sometimes have premonitions about things that we think we've had that are kind of like deja vu? Or is it completely things that we all control because of decisions that we make because we are the only ones who are living this life, at least in our own consciousness? I don't know. Who here is of the mind of free will and who here is of the mind of fate or destiny? What decides your own path? Let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, this was Locked, a 2-week visual novel that gives you a pretty insightful way of thinking. Interesting. I think I'm going to need to take a couple days to ruminate on what I think, to be honest. Because I like the conversations. It had me thinking. I love it when visual novels do that. At the same time, my brain be... I don't think I am powerful enough. I don't have enough control. But yeah, that was kind of a fun experience though. Yeah, if you liked going through this visual novel together, if you want to see more visual novels, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below your thoughts. What do you think of this visual novel? Whatever visual novels would you like to see in the future? What other philosophical musings do you have that you'd like to discuss? I'm open to discussing them. I may not always be big-brained enough to be able to understand them, but I think it would be fun nonetheless. With that, I believe that's where we end this playthrough of Locked. Thank you so much for watching me play, and remember to take care of yourselves, don't let your curiosity kill you, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye!